I am back. The videos that you guys are watching on Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday were pre-recorded by me on Friday because even though I said that I was going to be taking a break and I probably wasn't going to pre-schedule any videos for you all, I thought about it and I said to myself, you know what? I have made a commitment to publish at least one video for 365 days of the year, and I am going to damn well do just that. No matter how I am feeling or what is going on in my personal life, I will still, maintain my commitment because that's the kind of human being that I am. So I apologize if the content wasn't exactly the best for you all. I know that one of them in particular was quite horrendous. I think that was the child abuser in Melbourne that was caught recently, which was utterly disgusting. And people are not happy. We're still not happy at all about that here in Australia. And neither were many of you that watched it. Now, while I was away, and I still think that I need a bit more time, but anyway, I am back and will continue on with my commitment to you all. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, a lot went on while I was away for 3 days, which tends to, happen. And one of the things that happened while I was away was, get this, ladies and gentlemen, Tucker Carlson decided to interview the president of Iran, and the internet was ablaze because of it. The usual suspects like Candace Owens and Dave Smith and everyone that you think would be America first weren't actually America first. Tucker Carlson claims to be America first, but I mean, let's go interview the enemy, right? The president of Iran, and let's show the people exactly what the Iranian president is thinking, and let's trust what the Iranian president is thinking, even though they've wished death to America and death to Israel and all that other stuff too. So yes, let's just trust them, shall we? And because we're interviewing them, and because Tucker Carlson, people are calling him now, because he's gone to interview them, let's trust Tucker that he knows exactly what he's doing. If we are not interviewing our enemies, what does that say about us? It's as if, say, for example, the Allies journalists in wartime during World War II went to go and interview Hitler. Gee, Hitler, why did you decide to invade Poland? Why did you decide to murder the likes of over 6 million Jews? Why did you decide to do all this? Can we get your actual perspective about this kind of stuff? Because the Allies, the British people, the American people, we're not too sure why we're actually going to war with you. We don't understand it. So can you please explain it for all of us in the UK and America, Australia, New Zealand? We would love to hear it from the enemy's perspective, the enemy's mouth, rather than the propaganda machine spilled out to us by Winston Churchill and the like. That's exactly what this is like, except not on the same scale, right? We already know that Hitler was not the good guy, albeit Martin Maid, Daryl Cooper, would love everyone to think otherwise, because apparently, according to Daryl Cooper, Germany or Adolf Hitler decided to drop a bunch of pamphlets over Britain to say that we want peace. Funny how, we don't have any record of that at all. It was only recorded by the Nazis. Yes. You can definitely trust the ones that started a war, right? You can definitely trust those people for sure. Now, Tucker Carlson, as we know, interviewed the president of Iran, and here is his explanation as to why he did just that.
We just finished up an interview with Masoud Pezeshkian, who is the president of Iran, the 70-year-old heart surgeon who leads the country we were just at war with about a week and a half ago. We know we'll be criticized for doing this interview. Why did we do it anyway? Well, we did it because we were just at war with Iran 10 days ago and maybe again. And so our view, which has remained consistent over time, is that American citizens have the constitutional right and the God-given right to all the information they can gather about matters that affect them. If their country is doing something with their money in their name, they have a right, an absolute right, to know as much about it as they can. And that would include hearing from the people they're fighting. Now, can you believe everything you hear from the president of Iran? Probably not. But that's not the point. The point is, you should be able to decide for yourself whether you believe it or not. And keep in mind that anyone who seeks to deny you that right is not your ally, but your enemy. By the way, we have also put in, for the third time in the last several months, an interview request with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and we hope he accepts that. The interview is limited by a couple of factors. One, it was done by remote through a translator. That's always awkward. For another, I don't speak Persian, and there are all kinds of questions that I didn't ask the president of Iran, particularly questions to which I knew I could not get an honest answer, such as, was your nuclear program totally disabled by the bombing campaign by the U.S. government a week and a half ago? There's no chance he's going to answer that question honestly. I didn't bother to ask it. The answer, in fact, from an American perspective, even from the CIA's perspective, is unknowable. So we dispense with those, and I asked him very simple questions, such as, what is your goal? Do you seek war with the United States? Do you seek war with Israel? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, the purpose of this was not to get to the absolute truth. That's impossible in an interview like this. The purpose of the interview was to add to the corpus of knowledge from which Americans can derive their own opinion. Learn everything you can, and then you decide. That's the promise of America. And we hope that this interview does a small part to making that promise real. This interview will be up as soon as we have done editing it, as noted, and that should be in a day or two.
When you say we were at war with Iran 10 days ago, we didn't have any boots on the ground. It was a 12-day war. It was so quick. Iran basically surrendered and gave up. So it wasn't really the war that Tucker Carlson is referring to when he says war. But these warmongers, or these fearmongers, I guess you could call them, want everyone to just be afraid that we, well, when I say we, the American people, went to war with Iran. So we, the American people, deserve to know what the Iranian president was thinking while a bomber flew over and dropped, a big bomb on the nuclear program. Yes, the American people deserve to know, not from their own government, but we should trust the enemy government, is what Tucker Carlson is alluding to. We know we're going to be criticized for this interview, but we're going to do it anyway because, nothing says America first than interviewing the supposed enemy that you're at war with 12 days ago or something along those lines, just a week and a half ago, however long ago it was. It, to me, doesn't seem like it's right. But, Tucker Carlson was criticized for interviewing Vladimir Putin and the Qatari prince or whatever his name is. And then not long after that, he came back and said that Qatar was America's ally. I wonder what he's going to say next about the president of Iran. Iran is actually our ally, guys. We've got it all wrong. We shouldn't have bombed their nuclear program. They didn't want a nuclear weapon. Oh, here is the Iranian president talking about something that's very interesting for you all to hear. Watch.
Again and again, we don't want wars. We don't want to develop a nuclear weapon. And this false image, this wrong mentality created in the minds of the U.S. Decision makers and officials is because of the devilish machinations instigated by Netanyahu and the Israeli regime and its policies based on warmongering. And the U.S. president should know that another war will only spread more instability in the Middle East, and it is not going to be in the interest or in favor of the U.S. president or the U.S. government to move in that or towards that direction. They instead need to choose peace and tranquility, which is something that I am and my government and my country are after. And I also, as I said, I believe that the U.S. president is powerful enough to put Israel to Netanyahu in their place, to contain them and replace warmongering, bloodshed, and conflicts with peace and tranquility.
Mr. President, thank you for taking the time to explain your perspective. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for providing me with an opportunity to tell you about what is going on in my mind and in my heart. And I hope that peace and tranquility will prevail, not just for the people of the United States, for the U.S. officials, but for the whole world, and especially the people of my region. And thank you again.
So the president of Iran is saying that Iran doesn't want wars or nuclear weapons. Then why enrich your uranium to 60%, which leads one to believe that you are developing a nuclear weapon, does it not? Oh, but we don't want war. We don't want nuclear weapons. It's just a false flag image created by the devilish Netanyahu and the Israelis. God help us all. And these guys are the ones that are chanting death to America and death to Israel. Sure. And Tucker Carlson's like, tell me more, please. This is feeding into everything I love. Tell me more. I love to hear from the enemy, even though I say that I'm America first. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just pure poetry in motion, isn't it? Like, you go, I'm America first, but we shouldn't be involved in the Iranian conflict. You weren't really involved at all. No boots are on the ground. Nothing really happened except for Iran's nuclear program being demolished, destroyed. And Trump said many, many times, you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. You don't want the country that chants death to the West or death to America to have a nuclear bomb. That just should be common sense, shouldn't it? But no, Tucker Carlson's like, hey, Iranian president, what do you really want? Do you want war? What a softball question, right? After they've chanted death to America. Yes, lean in. Tell me more, please. And he's got the photo of Khomeini. This is a brutal regime that Tucker Carlson just platformed for the entire world. And the gaslighting on full display from the Iranians and like the lying, it's incredible, isn't it? You don't have to look too far to see what this president, this heart surgeon, 70-year-old heart surgeon, as well as the Ayatollahs, you don't have to look too far to see what they've done to the Iranian people. Spoiler alert. It hasn't been good for them. Otherwise, almost 80% of them wouldn't be screaming for a regime change, would they? Oh, but Tucker Carlson leans in and goes, tell me everything, please. And Candace Owens goes, I can't wait to watch. Nice to get around the censorious Western media. It's important to hear different perspectives so that we can think critically and decide what's true and what's false. Nothing signals being able to think critically about what's true and being able to decide what's true and what's false than interviewing the actual enemy that chants death to America. Nothing says I'm able to think critically. So America, the country that I live in, they're wrong. The government's wrong, people. But the enemy that is developing a nuclear weapon is chanting death to America. They're actually good guys, believe it or not. It's like saying that Hitler was a good guy. Same thing, even though he killed millions of people. Like, these people are honestly just so twisted. It's kind of worrisome. They're like homegrown terrorists, believe it or not. And so many people actually listen to them. I am truly, well, not really amazed, but not even shocked. It's like to be expected. The usual suspects nowadays. Britta goes, okay, cool, but when do we get to when we get Hamas on the show? Get them on the show too. Why not? While you're at it, let's get them on the show. Why did you guys commit October 7th? Oh, because we're being oppressed, which is the main narrative. Yes, but what have you been doing to your own damn people, the Palestinian people? And by the way, I've got a question. It's a great question. Why haven't any of the Palestinian people revealed where the remaining hostages are? If they are, all innocent, why hasn't one Palestinian mentioned where the remaining hostages are so they could end the war? That's a strange thing, isn't it? I would love to know myself. Why haven't they? Is it because Hamas is controlling them? Maybe. Pressing them? Maybe. That's interesting. Um, and then Gazelle goes, "Hey, Tucker, the man you just interviewed represents the monsters who butchered my father and mutilated his corpse. That's who you gave a stage to. Just because you have the ability to give a stage or a platform to someone doesn't necessarily mean you should. You have a big duty and responsibility, do you not?" Tucker Carlson just handed a global megaphone to the unelected frontman of a terrorist regime, an Arab Islamic official occupying Iran, installed after a bloody 1979 coup. Not Iranian, not elected, not a president, a mouthpiece for the regime that assassinates dissidents, grapes virgins before execution, funds terror, and plotted to murder a US president on American soil. Hey, yeah, Tucker Carlson, what's going on with that? You don't believe that they've plotted against President Trump, but there's lots of information that's coming out saying that they did. Okay, well, that's interesting. Now, do an interview with the women who've been blinded, raped, tortured, and murdered by his regime. Sean Farash goes, "Does the president of Iran know the exact population of Israel, or did you softball this interview like the Putin one? Are there groceries cheap in Iran too? Just curious." And Ian Hallworth goes, "Was Satan unavailable?" And Dan Crenshaw goes, "Nothing screams July 4th, Independence Day, like platforming the leader of a terrorist state that labels us the Great Satan." Yes. So all of the people that are criticizing Tucker Carlson for platforming this guy on, it was no coincidence, 4th of July weekend, ladies and gentlemen, this came out. Should make people start thinking, shouldn't it? Jason Levine goes, "My friend worked for Tucker. He quit 8 months ago because he raised money from an Iranian anti-Semitic billionaire. Knowing this explains everything you've seen with Tucker for the last 6 months into now. My friend predicted all of this and quit on the spot when he found out." And here is the expert, ladies and gentlemen, on all things war, talking about Dave Smith. "Interviewing the leaders of governments that we are at war with or likely to go to war with shouldn't be controversial. It should be the industry standard." Should it? Okay. Why is that? "Without that, you don't have journalism. You have propaganda. The people mad at Tucker know this and prefer the latter." Right. It's quite fascinating. Like, why do I need to, for example, interview my enemy to see or to find out what my enemy is thinking? Or the American people need to know exactly and hear it from the enemy's mouth. Would have been interesting, like, let's interview Pol Pot, ask him, or Mao, or Stalin. Let's interview them from a Western perspective. You automatically, they're going to put on a face and gaslight the living crap out of each and every one of you. That is a guarantee, because they don't want to be looked at as the bad people, keeping in mind they killed lots of people because they could. It's like the Iranian president is responsible for a brutal regime, but still he is painted as the good guy. Have you seen anything like so out of balance and so out of place? It's like Gad Sad talks about it, like the whole idea of ending one's life, empathy kind of deal. It's nuts, and it needs to stop. So Tucker Carlson is not America first. He's anything but. He's been bought and sold by the looks of things. And anyone that's offending him, I really do wonder why. I get the whole idea of freedom of speech, but you have a choice to platform someone that is actually your enemy and make him out to look like the good person, which is exactly what Tucker Carlson did. And he didn't even ask one tough question. He's on Zoom, for goodness sake. He's not even there. Laura Luma, I'll finish with this, goes, "Tucker Carlson is publishing propaganda for the Iranian regime. Tucker is directly undermining President Trump and his intel community by allowing the president of Iran to claim Iran doesn't have and never had nuclear weapons, even though our intel agencies just destroy their nuclear facilities. Tucker is an enemy of our country and a national security threat under the guise of being a journalist. Here are some of the questions, right? Is Iran willing to give up their nuclear program in exchange for peace? Was the International Atomic Energy Agency spying on Iran and giving information to Israel? Like, that's going to be something that the Iranian president would love to give you an answer to. Okay, a straight answer at that. Is Iran open to diplomacy? Ooh, interesting. And you really think the Iranian president is going to tell you the truth? Oh, boy. And the list goes on. What happened to the relationship between Iran and Israel? From the Iranian perspective, please. I don't want to hear it from the Israeli perspective. I want the enemy's perspective. I want the Islamic perspective, please, and thank you. I don't want the diplomacy or the diplomatic perspective. No way in the world. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Israel is all bad. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care. Be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.